Hey there, thank you for joining me. Welcome to my kitchen. My name is John, and today we are going to be learning how to make fresh homemade sauerkraut. Everybody knows that fermented foods are good for gut health, at least in some moderation. So today we are going to be starting our batch of sauerkraut. So let me gather the ingredients and we'll get started. This recipe is probably one of the first recipes I ever taught how to make. Even before I went to culinary school, I was very interested and an advocate for fermented food. I was doing workshops for kombucha, workshops for kimchi, as well as workshops for the sauerkraut. I've tweaked the sauerkraut recipe since then, but it is a rather interesting but anyway, so there's only a couple of things that you need. You need your largest bowl available to you because you're going to be needing the product before you start jarring it and canning it. So you want the biggest so you can really get into it. It's kind of like it's a workout for your hands, so you're probably going to get tired. The other thing is you're going to want a room temperature cabbage. Do not use a cold cabbage because you'll get frostbite on your fingers as you do this. So try, get a decent sized head, make sure that it's rather tight and compact. For this recipe then, you're also going to need salt. Now you can just make sauerkraut with the salt and the cabbage. But my special recipe that I'm going to share with you, and it's pretty much the best one also because it can be a gift if you want it to be. I use some fresh frozen cranberries and then also some caraway seeds. Now it gives it a very unique Eastern European flavor to it, besides the actual sauerkraut flavor. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Now, one of the things that's not necessary but I have for convenience is a canning funnel. You can do this without a funnel whatsoever. It's just a little bit more convenient and cleaner and neater if you have a canning funnel. The other things that you need, and because I have like a weird sized cabbage here, is your mason jars. Now I have these Ball brand mason jars. I have two small as well as one like super large. I'm hoping to be able to use the two smaller ones. That way I can make two batches of sauerkraut, and then when I eat it, one can stay sealed and the other one then can be open to eat. And yeah, so that's it. So the next step is to slice up your cabbage really fine. But when you peel the outer layers of cabbage, like take the first 4 or so, you'll want to save them. Okay, so we're going to clean them off really well. We're going to scrub them. Actually, the 2 should do it if I'm doing 2 jars or 1. So just save one of the leaves per can or per jar. And so I have 2 potentially that I'm going to be making. The rest we're going to dice up super fine and super thin. The easiest way to do that, and let me move this bowl out of the way, and I have paper towels in the corner if I start making a mess. The easiest way to do that is just cut your cabbage stump off if you want, or just leave it so you have something to hold on to. And we're going to cut the cabbage in half right down the middle, and that will make slicing it safer and easier. So I'm going to get to cutting this. You don't have to watch me do it because it's a long process. And then I'll show you what we do once these are shredded up. Now, if you have a mandolin, use a mandolin. If you have like a slicer attachment for your food processor, or a blender or something that just does slicing, use that instead. But I'm going to cut it by hand. So I will see you in just a moment. So cut, take a break, and I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, I've sliced it and diced it, literally, and I'm only wasting this little bit of the core. I don't want a lot of the thick pieces in it. I'd prefer just to have the leafy bits in my sauerkraut, but if you like a little bit of crunch in your sauerkraut, be sure to, you know, add a little bit of the ribs of the leaves if you want. Again, I don't really care for them, and you saw that I'm making this as small and fine as possible. There is a reason I'm doing it this way, because when I have to work with my hands, I want it to be super easy. Now, cutting this with a knife actually went a lot quicker than I thought. You probably could have watched me do it. I did a really fast job at it. The more you do it, the easier it gets. If it is the only time that you do it, at least give it a try, you know, making your own fresh sauerkraut. I love the smell of this green cabbage. I'm going to throw those away. Or compost. Those are going to be composts, actually. Now I'm going to just transfer this all to a bowl. I'm going to clean off my knife here a little bit. Because I don't want to waste any of that cabbage that I cut up. You spend all that time cutting it, you want to be able to use it all, right? Plus, I want to be able to fill my at least 2 jars. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to be putting this in a bowl, and it's, again, the largest bowl I have. And this was, like I said, a medium-sized head. It wasn't very small, but it is going to take up a majority of the bowl. So it's picking up quite nice, going right into the bowl. All right. So by using your hands a little bit more in this activity, you're able to see if you need to cut any more of the cabbage, like if there was a thicker piece, like like too close to the core. If you don't want that in there, you can pick it out. So by using your hands, you can feel what you're going to be eating too. So I love that. Personally could have done a little bit of a better job at slicing, because I do like angel hair fine shreds of the cabbage. But let me move this out of the way. But for demonstration purposes, it's fine. It's good. It's shredded. It's tiny. I mean, you see it's sticking everywhere. This can be messy if you want it to be. I have a white kitchen. I don't want any messes, right? So, now I do have Himalayan pink salt. You can use any salt you want, okay? Any salt. But if it's coarse salt, you're going to need more. If it's fine salt, you're just going to use the recipe that I have here. So I have about a medium-sized cabbage, cut fine enough, okay? And then we just take a tablespoon of the Himalayan salt. I'm just going to shake it all about in there. And I'm going to do a half of a tablespoon as well. So it's 1.5 tablespoons, a little bit more in there, of salt. You don't want it too salty because it can really not ruin it, but you just want enough in there. The salt will actually help draw out the liquids of the cabbage, soften it up as you massage the cabbage, and then also keep away some bad bacteria from forming while we are fermenting it. So that's why you use the salts in the fermented cabbage. Now, you don't need a special crock. That was one thing I probably should have said in the beginning. There are sauerkraut crocks you can use, but you don't need it for this because that requires like a weight to weight down the sauerkraut. This particular method doesn't require that. All right, so get in there and just start massaging it. And I'm not saying like dainty massage. I'm saying like like deep tissue, deep tissue massage. You want to draw out the liquids and wilt all of the cabbage, and you will see, like, even right now it's softening up. Let's see if I can show it to you. Right now it's softening up. Eventually when I'm done, there's going to be liquid water at the bottom of the bowl. So let me take care of this, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I have a bowl here for the extra liquid. I'm just going to be pouring that out very carefully, hopefully not to slop my cabbage everywhere. The liquid is fine to hang on to and put in your containers, but you're going to see something as I'm loading this up, and I really think it's going to be about the two jars. But anyway, so I did the massage, and now I just removed some of the liquid. I'm gonna add the cranberries, and again, this is probably just about a cup of the cranberries. They're really only in there for color. You don't want to add them while you're massaging, because then you just get pink brown cabbage, and you're just adding it kind of after the fact. Same thing with the caraway seeds. They hurt when they stab into your skin as you're massaging, so add them afterwards. Really should just use a spoon. All right, and that looks like enough. I love the caraway seed in my sauerkraut, and it just sets it off. It smells like rye bread now. Okay. So I'm going to grab one more thing that I forgot, and I'll be right back. Okay, that one thing that I forgot and kind of needed, I just have a pestle here from my pestle and mortar. This way I can pack the sauerkraut into the jars, and I'm still trying to decide what direction I want to go. I'm thinking I'm going to be using the 2 small. If I have any extra and enough for a third, I will also get a third jar, because I do have a third smaller one as well. So we're just going to load these up, and again, I'm going to make a mess, so probably should grab that cutting board that's already got like cabbage bits on it. And it's just easier to load it right up. Okay, and all right, so you see it looks like a full jar already. Nope, it's not full. You got to push this down, and that is where the pestle. Do you see it? Do you see it? Oh, there it is. Thanks for telling me. I knew you got my back. And you just push it down. Because I have a stone pestle, I want to be delicate with the glass. But you want to push the best you can, and you will see liquid come to the top. You want some of that liquid. If we have to pour some out, we will. But for the most part, I think we'll be good with what it is. All right, this has a nice groove in the cutting board so it doesn't roll away. And we'll add another layer of the cabbage. Oh, maybe I've only got enough for one jar. We'll see. You are going to want to pack these very, very full. All right, next. Okay, you see that liquid that's kind of like rising up as I push down? Maybe you don't. Yeah, you do. Because it's kind of pink from the cranberries. Okay, it's important that you use a jar that doesn't have a wide mouth, and I'll show you why when we put the top layer on. So the cabbage is almost all in the bottom, and I'm just going to do the one jar for you so you can see. Alright, you want the cabbage pushed down in, and you want it to be below the liquid. And that is why, if you have a sauerkraut crock, that they put like a plate or a weight on it, because you want to keep that from being exposed to the air. That's why. So I might leave it like that because I need to make room for this top piece. Now, the top piece you don't eat, okay? That's one of the things you need to know, is that you're not eating this top piece. This is kind of your weight, and it's holding it down. So I'm just gonna like fold it over a little bit, kind of make it a, we're gonna be making like a cap for the sauerkraut. And we're gonna make sure that this is also tucked in the corners of the jar. And yeah, you might have some liquid come out. So it's kind of important to do this over a surface. And you want to tuck them into the corners. That's why you, and all that liquid just decides to come up, and that's perfect. And you see the liquid on the top. All right, so that's full of the cabbage and full of the sauerkraut, or well, it will be sauerkraut. Some beautiful red cranberries in there, and the caraway seeds. So now it's time for me to put the lid on. You're gonna put the lid on fairly tight. But now over the next couple days, let me remove this liquid, get the cabbage out of there. Next couple days, you're gonna burp the jar, okay? So put it in a bowl, because it'll burp itself. But all you've got to do is set it in a bowl and keep it out of direct sunlight and burp it like once or twice a day. You'll notice over the next couple of weeks, like 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks is a good time to enjoy your sauerkraut. But you'll notice as the weeks progress, you don't have to burp it as often, and then eventually you won't have to burp it at all, and then you can just kind of put it in the fridge after the 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, so that is sauerkraut, and I'm glad you stayed to watch me make a mess in my kitchen. I will hope to see you next time. If you do have any questions or need a sauerkraut recipe, I can get you one. Just go to my website, and there's a contact form under Chef Services. There's a contact form. So just be sure to message me. I can send you the recipe. And again, just like a reminder of what you need to do as well for the sauerkraut. So thanks for joining me in this episode. I got to do some dishes apparently and stuff another jar full of kraut. So I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me. My name is John. I love you guys. Thanks.